we're now up to block number 9, and this is what I call the friendship star. There are other names for it, but the friendship star, generally what you would do with this one in the way back of the way back, you would have this one as just a plain white or something, and everybody who was in your quilt circle who would donate parts of the quilt and things like that, and you would build a quilt together, you would sign it. And so each person would have one with all the signatures of their quilting friends that was in the center, and then you just made a star on the outside. This one shouldn't be a problem at all for you. You have done everything just like this already, and I hope you're starting to recognize continuing patterns in these things, because if you really look at this, what the easiest thing to do is to break down a pattern into its different parts. And so when you really look at this, it's just a 9 patch. You have 2 patches on either side there, and then you have these longer or wider ones in here. So 3 across here, 3 across here, 3 across here. These are just a little bit wider than the other ones. And instead of just having one solid block here, you have a flying geese. So we're going to be able to utilize that 4-at-a-time flying geese that we use the modern method, or if you prefer the traditional method, you can do it that way too, because each of these points is just a flying goose, and so they're pointed into the square in the center. And in this one I used 4 colors or 4 fabrics, and I just chose them at random just because I just wanted to mix things up. So I've got 1 fabric here, 1 fabric here, and then the rest of them are just these 2 fabrics here. My next one I'm going to do will just have 3, and so these will all be the same color, and then I'll still go with the same sort of setup here. So it's a 9 patch with flying geese and just a plain old square in the center. So once you start being able to see a block and break it down into its parts, they're not as intimidating. And so this looks really super awesome in a quilt, and it looks like you really did something amazing, which you did, but it's a lot simpler than it looks when you're actually putting it together. And so let's go ahead and I'll show you the fabrics that I have chosen. And I'm not going to go step by step through the flying geese thing again, but we are going to use, I'm going to use the modern method to make my flying geese, and these are going to be, this will be my goose, and these will be my sky parts, so the little triangles on the side. So those are the 2 for that. And then I've picked these super bright pinks just to make those corners really pop out. And then I'm just going to put that green in the center. So we'll have our flying geese there. And then these will be the star points. So let's get started. have my geese made up, and so now I'm just going to work it just like I do a 9 patch. And I'm going to seam up this line right here. Okay, so now I have these set up, and I'll do it just like I did the 9 patch. Now I'll flip this one up this way, and I'm going to try to line these ditches up perfectly so that those points come into the right place. So here's my finished friendship star. And so just like with when we did the flying geese themselves, the last block, you need to watch where your seams are, where these little points are, because it will kind of make your presser foot kind of want to migrate away from that. You really want your points to end right at that square right there. And so be careful with that. Otherwise, if you attack it just like a 9 patch and just make your 4 flying geese like I showed you last time, then it's fairly simple. If you need to rewatch the flying geese, you can, because that's exactly how we made those 4. And then you just put it together like the 9 patch and you're done. And you have a super fancy star. So I'll see you on the next block.